Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
What you're hearing are the sounds of people everywhere putting on Bombas socks, underwear, and T-shirts made from absurdly soft materials that feel like plush clouds. Yeah, that plush. And the best part? For every item you purchase, Bombas donates another to someone facing homelessness.
Bombas. Big comfort for everyone. Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/ACAST. Code ACAST.
Hello, I'm Josh Hellman. Welcome back to another Just Films and That new release review. I do hope you're well, and thanks very much for listening. Whilst I've got your attention, if you could head on over to whichever app or website or whatever you're listening to this on, and if it's possible, give us a little 5-star review or rating, as it helps other people hear us and hear our thoughts on things like this week's film. Because we're getting emotional, because I'm going to be talking about Pixar's Inside Out 2. As with the others, I will try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but if you don't want to know anything at all, make sure you listen to this after you've seen it, as I will touch on things that are featured in the trailer and the marketing, and I may also touch on elements of the first Inside Out film as well. In terms of the plot, we follow on from the first Inside Out and find Riley's emotions still happily plodding along inside Riley's head, except, plot twist, she's hitting puberty. Things are getting complicated with all sorts of new emotions like anxiety, envy, and embarrassment are there to cause havoc with Riley's old emotions, finding themselves questioning their purpose and what might happen to Riley next. So, let's get stuck into it then. A short review. I'd say this. If you like the first Inside Out, you'll probably like this one, because it's just maybe just sort of follows that... It follows that Jump Street joke of do the same thing again. That's not to say there isn't things to like in there, as there is, but it's largely what you probably liked about the first one. So in terms of the new stuff then, they do some good world expansion, as there's some good ideas in there around sense of self, how that changes as we get older. As you might have seen from some of the marketing stuff, they bring in these new emotions and do some creative things in terms of how an emotion like anxiety might react with fear, or embarrassment with sadness, etc., etc. And then it's all about how these emotions take over Riley as she starts to experience the joys of puberty. Like the first one, it looks great too. They do get a little bit more creative with the animation, bring in different styles of animation and looks and stuff like that in a similar way to something like the Spider-Verse films do. They do something a lot of the recent Pixar films have done quite well too, which is they expand and really expand the representation on screen with things like characters in there who are from different backgrounds or body shapes, and they do it without, I think, patting themselves on the back too much, which I think is good. You know, it's sort of I think that's where we get to a land of equality, shall we say? There's some good laughs in there too around things like, you know, the things many of us experience during puberty, like that sensitivity and stuff like that, and it does it in such a way to not detract from the message. Other than that, everything in there is very, very similar to what is good about the first one. And I think that's the problem. If there is a problem, that's the problem, really. I don't think they do enough to push the concept. So it's a lot of the same things around accepting the bad parts within the good. And it's just done with sort of not as much impact. I do wonder a little bit about who this is for to some extent, as it feels like they've tried to possibly cater to the same people who like the first one and hope that they've sort of capitalised on the passage of time and then can then catch the same audience members again as they hit that sort of same age as Riley and, you know, all the problems that she has to deal with. To some extent, I think they do capture a lot of that teen angst. I'm just not sure if many teenagers are going to go and watch this. So I think for me, it found itself in audience limbo a little bit as they try and expand on the first one with new jokes about how the world of these emotions work. And I think they get a little bit too conceptual, because I think they know that. They know it's too conceptual, because every time they do jokes, they have a character explain it to you, and it's just a little bit on the nose in places. Whereas in the first one, it does enough to balance that conceptuality with the colour and the simpler ideas. And I just think this one does just get a little bit too conceptual, and I think it might lose some of the, maybe kids viewers under 8 or 9. It certainly did in my screening. There was definitely it was like a soft play down the front. There was just kids running around and jumping up and down, which to an extent, I expect in a film like this, but not as much as they were doing it, shall we say. Anyway, overall, there's plenty to like. I think it might go one or two ways for you. Either I think you'll like it because you like the first one, or like me, you like the first one, and this feels like somewhat of a bit of a missed opportunity. As ever, this is just my opinion. It's probably worth noting that whilst Pixar does obviously have a broad appeal, I'm probably quite far away from their ideal target audience on this one, so give it a watch yourself, see what you reckon. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio!